Why, hello! It's 2020! And since I'm too lazy to actually edit a video, I decided to just record myself drawing because I figured out how to color sketches efficiently. Yay! So what is it I'm going to talk about today? Well, if you couldn't tell from the title, I'm going to talk about character design, specifically pertaining to my friends and how I draw them. As someone who is a character designer, I like to use information I have in order to help with drawing my friends or people I know. So let's get on with it. Today, I'm drawing my friend Ben, and before you ask, his hair isn't this color, it's black. But I've had this idea for a while now, I just wanted to roll with it, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. A character's design shouldn't solely rely on colors, but also the shapes you use while drawing them. My friend Ben has this like sleepy / nighttime aesthetic to him, at least to me anyway. He's super sarcastic and is like the type of person who, at least to me, can reply with something that's way too smart to have been something they could have come up with on the spot, but he somehow manages to do it anyway. I don't know how he does it, it's just a thing he does. So how does that contribute to how I draw him? Well, I draw his hair super exaggerated, as you can tell right here. I know for a fact that it is not this long, like I don't think it's anywhere near that length, but I feel like giving him a big old head of hair helps with making him more expressive. Because I like using hair to show someone's feelings, like having it flare when they're upset or mad. The advantage of these being drawn can allow this type of stuff, which I think is really cool, and a lot of people don't take that advantage at all. And I just really like drawing him in fluffy hair. Fluffy hair is great. I love it. Now it's time for colors! And for this, we're just gonna ignore his hair because his hair is not this color. It's not a gradient. I already said this. I just wanted to be like this color because I just really wanted to draw his face hair today. Not sure why. I just really wanted to. So you're just gonna have to stick with it. We're not gonna talk about it, just ignore it, pretend it's not there. His eyes in real life were actually brown, as like 90-80% of the population's eyes are brown. But I have the advantage of this being drawn on a computer. So I can have it be any shade of brown I want. Or I guess in this case, yellow. I like giving characters like this, or I guess people I know, slanted eyes with yellow because not only does it fit really well with their personality, but it just helps them stand out more because the yellow helps draw attention to the eyes because they're slanted. And it just looks really nice. I really like that. It's a really goldy yellow color, like very saturated and warm, and I feel like that helps them not only stand out, but fit well with how he acts. And just slanted eye shapes with yellow eyes, just yes, please do that more. It's amazing. Character designers, do that more, please, I'm begging you. And also just having a dark palette, like a dark value palette, and have them all be cool colors except for the eyes or just dots of yellow is always really pretty in my book, so I like doing it with other characters or my friends in general. This next part's just me adding like watercolor stuff to it, which is like my favorite thing to do when I draw digitally. So basically what I do is I have a set color for everyone's skin where I add watercolor to it to make it look like there's blood rushing through them, if that makes sense. Like it makes it look like they're alive, because if I don't add it, it's like they're kind of dead and they don't have any blood going through them. They're just gone. They are no more. They are dead. They are dead. And I give it to the fingers too because, you know, that's how fingers work. There's always blood pumping. And to add on to his aesthetic, and also a little thing I do is like I color over it again to make it darker on certain parts. So I do it underneath the nose at the very edge, and I do it under the eyes because I like using natural colors to shade, like the color I'm already using, so it looks more natural and just fits in better with the whole thing. And it just doesn't look weird. If I use something like blue or purple, then it just look kind of out of there and like it doesn't belong. But if I use it with the same color as before, just on top of it, then it'll look nicer. So yeah, art tip of the day. Watercolor brush is your best friend. Use it more often, it loves you too. This next part is easily my favorite part of this drawing that I'm very proud about, is the little star bits. Because whenever I draw space here, I like adding little bits of stars, because, you know, it's in space. You gotta have stars, man. And my way of doing it is I usually use a really light color that I have set for a certain shade. Like purple has a certain set for the shade, or red has a certain high pink res kind of thing, you know, with like high value, really high and white. But for this, I just used white because I didn't feel like getting purple. And I use this brush called a fingertip brush to help smear it out a little bit so it looks a bit less perfect, if that makes sense. And then I add on more white to make a glow to it. And I had to experiment a little bit with this part 'cause I didn't really like how it looked. And I wanted to try and figure out how it would look better on hair, because if it was by itself, like in the sky, then I would have kept that, or at least made it just circles everywhere and just blurred it out with a fingertip brush. But I didn't want to do that. So I wanted to try and figure out how to make this look nicer with just white flecks everywhere, so that it looks like it has light coming from it, if that makes sense, and also just looks like it's part of the hair rather than just something that's slapped on top of it. So yeah. I also can't use the blur brush on this, why I use the fingertip brush, because the blur brush, for whatever reason, makes everything underneath it transparent. So that's why I try using it in this, and then I just drop it and use the fingertip brush again. So, you know, yeah, the blur brush isn't very reliable on most art systems I've used. The only one I think it works well on is Paint Tool Sai, and I had dropped that program, so, you know, not a very good tool. Next, I wanted to try adding more light sources to it, or I guess like showing that the light source is there, like it's not just on top of everything. So I tried adding it on to the clothes and then fingertipping it out so that it looked like that there is indeed light coming from this and it's affecting what's underneath it. But I don't actually keep this. You'll see the layers still because I want to try and play around with it more. But I do not keep this. It's not there anymore. It's gone. And then I use the airbrush tool, which is a very controversial tool for whatever reason. Don't use it to shade. Like, that is just repulsive. Do not use an airbrush tool to shade at all. It's gross. I hate it. But using it for light sources is a definite yes if you can use it correctly. And it's very easy to use, so, you know, just give it a shot. Then I add on his glasses and stuff, final touches, because he has glasses. I don't like using, like, straight black or straight white. That's why I was kind of pointing out that I used white, like, exact white for the stars, because I usually don't use exactly white, unless it's for, like, the little highlight in the eyes. That's the only thing that's ever purely white on my drawings. The eye part that's supposed to be white is actually a really light yellow, because it looks funny if it's just white. It helps it stand out and look more realistic if it's not just white, if it's a specific color. And you can see this like little purple pinkish color I have. I have set like lens, I'm gonna call them like, and that's not the right word, like lens flares. Like a bit color. I have a color set for all my friends who wear glasses. I have a certain color that's stuck with them for like what color I'll use to show that the glasses have like a light source, if that makes sense. They all have one. Ben's is like purple pinkish, so that's kind of what I use for it. And then I start working on the background a bit. It's very simple. And then I decided to use that same pinkish purple color I did for the glasses and stick it onto his hair, because that's what I used to shade his hair. Because like I said, everyone has a set color. And you can see like on the layers, I play around with the effects on them. So I use the overlay effect a lot because it helps color correct everything and makes it look more pretty and just fits better with the palette. So yeah, use layer tools, like use layer options. They're very helpful. And then my least favorite part of drawing is shading. I hate shading. I don't know why, I just don't like doing it. It's just always so time consuming and so like it just takes a while, because with my program, if you color over something and it's not in like a single stroke, then you can see the little pixels, they'll cover each other. You can see pixels and it's really gross. So that's why I don't like shading. I always have to like go with the water bucket tool or bucket paint tool, whatever you want to call it, and I have to just go over it and make sure that there's no dots in it or anything. That's why I don't like shading very often. And it's just really hard to do because it's just so aggravating and it has to be perfect and precise because I'm a perfectionist. But here's the pro tip. Don't use black to shade if you're doing like full pieces like this. It'll look really unnatural. Try using like purples or reds, depending on what mood you're going for, as well as what the palette is already. And then I play around with the layer effects a bit more, and then I'm done.